Oh, welcome back for Feck Off Friday. We're very excited today to bring Corrie, Yelland, and Jim. I'm going to let you do some introductions as I run backstage and get this shared out.
Whoop, whoop. Thanks, Jeremy. All right, welcome to Feck Off Friday. It's a good one. I'm in Dallas. We've got Corrie Yelland with us today. This is very exciting. I've spoken with Corrie through texting and stuff, but not direct. So excuse us if we get caught up on some conversations, but couldn't be more excited to have you, Corrie. Welcome to the show. It is a Feck Off Friday for sure.
Well, thank you.
Great. And we also have Justin, our patient-reported outcome expert. Justin's going to be talking to Corrie a little bit about how she collects her stories. She runs a program called Cannabis. I'm sorry, Cannabis Health Network, right?
Health Radio.
Cannabis Health. I'm sorry, Cannabis Health Radio. Yeah, I was digging for that just a second ago. But Cannabis Health Radio collects stories from cannabis, cancer, and other types of diseases that we all know that cannabis works with. And Corrie will give us a little bit more information on that. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, Corrie, welcome. Thanks again for being on. I'm going to start off with a pretty simple question of what I like to hear from the guest is like, what's your why? Why are you involved in this space? It's a crazy place. The cannabis business is like in disarray as it possibly could. I mean, it's legal in one state. It's not legal in another state. What the heck, right? What the feck off? You know, what's up with you? Why are you doing this?
I'm insane. That's why. Well, as a number of people probably know, and a lot don't, I was diagnosed in July of 2011 with anal cancer. I was given 2 to 4 months to live, 6 on the outside. I did no chemo. I did no radiation. The only surgery I had was diagnostic. All I did was oil. It was before the day of Facebook pages on this. It was before the day of dispensaries carrying it. So it's completely and utterly on my own. So I had to make it myself. That was that was a bit of an adventure, but anyway, we managed to do that without blowing each other up. I had friends with me, and we all had written instructions on how to do it. And I remember looking at this syringe of black crap and thinking, this is going to save my life.
Right.
Okay. And yes, indeed, it did. So I have been confirmed cancer-free now for just under 12 years, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah. Right? That's full remission there.
Yeah.
For the past 5 years. That's the cure level.
Yeah. And my son, Eric, is a cancer survivor. His most recent bout was Burkitt's lymphoma. He was 18 back when he was 18. He's 31 now. So actually it brings a lot of memories up because I was at the Masters actually yesterday at the golf tournament. And that's when Eric noticed that something was going on and he couldn't go to the bathroom. So when he went back to California, he went to the doctor, they did a sonogram and they basically said, you have cancer, just telling a kid that. So just similar to the good topic in my life is I hate stage 4. I hate doctors thinking they're God and they're controlling so many people's lives. They really kill more people than they don't because they tell them they're at stage 4, go home and get your affairs in order.
Yeah, well, the oncologist I saw, I didn't even tell him I was going to do oil. I simply told him I wanted some time to think about it. Didn't mention alternatives, nothing. Just some time to think about it. He looked at me and he told me I had 2 to 4 months to live, that I had a death wish, and walked out.
Oh my God, that's what we're dealing with. Feck off.
That's like malpractice.
That's crazy, isn't it? I know. So yeah. We hate that. I mean, honestly, and that's why we do what we do. Eric was misdiagnosed for 8 months, calling it sinusitis, and he had a brain tumor. That was when he was 8 years old. Crazy stuff that we're going through. Congratulations on your success. I think we might have froze up just a little bit. I'll be patient and see if I hope that is that me, Justin, or
you're both looking good to me.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, perfect. So yeah, feck off, doctors. Come around, man. get a clue. I mean, this does. I had skin cancer, Corey, and I actually read Phoenix Tears,
Mhm.
and it resonated with me. It really did. I felt for Rick what he had to go through originally, and then I went and bought some product down in Santa Cruz and put it on, and a week and a half to 2 weeks later, it had gone through exactly what they told me it was going to do. They gave me an insight of what it should do, and it did it. And it literally raised it out of my skin, and it puckered up like a open freaking moon crater. And then 4 days later, it's gone. I was like, what the heck?
What kind of skin cancer do you know?
It was BCC.
Okay, basal cell carcinoma.
Yeah, dissolved it.
Yeah, wow. Excellent.
Right?
Great.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, you asked how I got here. Well, this is how I got here. So I said all along, if it worked, I'd spend the rest of my life telling people about it.
Badass. You committed, and now you're
Here I am.
And what a crazy world it is. And I got to tell you,
12 years of it. So
some of the best people I've ever met are doing what you're doing, and there's not enough of them, and there's not a lot of them.
no.
Right. And like I said earlier, that I don't think that the next generation is going to step up. I really don't. And that's what scared me into like creating some type of technology that could kind of crowdsourcing, because the value of the story that you're collecting is what I got when Eric was sick. I met a father that had a daughter that had the exact same brain tumor that Eric did, and she came in there running around, and she was fine, and that gave me the hope that I needed. And before that, I thought they were going to die, and the doctors didn't do anything to change my mind. They loved you to be scared, right?
Well, I jokingly, tongue-in-cheek, say often to patients that I think the first course the doctors take is the one called How to Scare the Crap Out of Your Patient.
That's a good one.
They spend more time on that than they do the endocannabinoid system.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're damn good at it. I think the Kool-Aid includes that. Gosh, man, it's funny. Yeah, so when Eric, before surgery, the doctor drew out surgery on the piece of paper that goes over the bench. That's where they drew it out for us. It's like, and it's craniotomy. It wasn't a pretty surgery. It wasn't like, open up your finger and pull out a little thorn. It was opening your brain head and going in and messing with your brain. And ultimately, he had a stroke on his second surgery. He had reoccurrence because it was misdiagnosed. So kind of crazy times for us. And it really inspired me to pay attention. And when Eric came home for the third occurrence at 18, he used cannabis oil. He didn't use it during treatment. He used it afterwards, and it eliminated 5 of the 9 prescriptions that he had. So I was like, what the fuck? I was like, there's something to this. And then my neighbor had brain cancer, and his mom was taking care of my mom. This is out in California. It's just a small world when you find it, right?
Yeah, very much so.
So you grew your own medicine. You made your own medicine.
Well, I made my own. I did not grow my own, but I made my own. Yeah.
How did you do that? You just go to the store, buy an ounce from somebody?
No. It was a bit of a procedure. So, first of all, I asked my doctor if they'd give me, a medical note. And I had 2 GPs that shared an office. So the one GP is religious, very religious, Baha'i faith, and that's fine. However, she told me that she didn't, her religion did not believe in cannabis, so she wouldn't sign it. And she said,
Back off.
That's a feck off. That's a new one.
She said you could try the other GP, but I don't know. And so when he wouldn't do it either. So I ended up going to the Victoria Cannabis Buyers Club, yay, Ted Smith. And I had all sorts of documentation. I just didn't have the note from the doctor. Anyway, so I took in my documentation, and Ted was very empathetic and said, I'm really sorry about what's going on, and welcomed me to the club. So then I did an intake, and I'm like, yes, thank you, universe. And I go up to the counter, and I'm like, yes, I'd like to buy some cannabis oil. And they go, we don't have it. And I'm like, What? What do
Did you
you
say feck off?
No, I was stunned. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have it? And I remember this incredible feeling of panic and overwhelm, like, holy crap, like I was like this close, and now you're telling me you don't have it? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, yeah.
So so I went home and regrouped. Okay.
Nice.
So then I went back to the club and bought some cannabis. I was on disability, so my friends all got together and donated some money, and we bought these. I think the first time we only had like 2 ounces. The first time we did it, but we got like a quarter of one. See, because even back then I was the multi-strain queen, so I did a quarter of one, quarter of another,
Wow, even better.
quarter of another. So there you go.
Awesome. Goes way back. Awesome. Started.
So that's why it worked so well.
That is awesome, Corey. Right on.
Yeah, so I did.
It's really empowering when it's finally done and in the syringe and in your under your tongue. I just feel like, wow, I just kicked some ass here, man. It's like it's self-autonomy. Patient autonomy is a big thing that you don't get from the medical industry.
No,
that's the last thing on their plate. They'll never put you in touch with another patient to talk to them about what's going on. Ever.
I try and do that a lot, actually. I think it's really supportive, and it's like you could, perhaps empathize with a woman having had to get a mastectomy, but you yourself have never been through that. And I can try and empathize with these patients, even though I've done the whole fight for your life thing. I'm not necessarily going through their battle. And if I can pair them up with somebody who's walked in their shoes, it's just so supportive. In fact, I have people, there's this one woman in Canada, and then I have one in North Carolina. They're both breast cancer patients. They've become the best of friends. I think they're planning on meeting each other. That support can be
right there,
invaluable.
Yeah.
That can really be invaluable. So
yeah, it's hope. It's all about that, and I've experienced it firsthand. And gosh, that's what we're trying to do, is build a community. We're also building another community of people that make FECO.
Okay. Yeah.
Because FECO is a very difficult product to get people to make for like commercial, because especially multi-strain and everything. Indica, or some people call it high and low. With indica, we need it low. We don't want to jump out of our skin. Sativa FECO has its place, but it's not really at night for sure. Love to hear your opinion on those type of things. What you go with your multi-strains, and do you ever include like hemp plants in there to increase the?
Do I ever? Sorry, you cut out there.
Do you ever include like a hemp strain to increase the cannabinoid?
Well, okay. So first of all, I myself don't make oil because
right.
Right under the microscope there. But I have people that I point people towards. And I do have one person that's got like 15 strain, and another one has an 11 strain, another one has an 8 strain. What I'm seeing work is this ratio that I came up with a couple of years ago. And I mean, I wish I could look at you and tell you I did a crop load of research to come up with it, because in my own experience, I'm seeing unprecedented results with what I would deem to be the most difficult, most dangerous, most aggressive cancers. What would I deem those to be? Stage 4 pancreatic, stage 4 esophageal, stage 4 ovarian, liver, stage 4 hormone-driven breast, the bane of my existence. But it was really quite by accident that I came up with it. I was talking with an individual way back when, a woman who had hormone-driven breast cancer, very, very advanced with widespread metastasis. And she was on a 3-to-1 ratio of CBD to THC. And I need to be very, very clear with everybody that I have never, ever, ever, not even once, seen a hormone-driven or non-hormone-driven breast cancer clear on 3 parts of CBD to 1 part of THC.
Yeah.
That's my own personal experience. So what I said to this woman was, there's a lot of controversy on all of this right now. You can do, if you want to play it super, super safe. And I could see this woman she had 1 foot in the Hail Mary pass. So she was not down. And I said, you want to play it super, super safe? You could go 1-to-1. I said, what do I think you need to do? pardon my French, I said, I think you need to kick the shit out of this. That's what I said. And
Right.
the way you do that is with high THC. I said, and then I happened to be talking to my individual that I use in the States, and I said, indica can be a little heavy. And then I start kind of process for a second. I said, I know what would happen if we threw in a bit of CBD. So we, in quotations, created this 4-to-1 ratio.
Okay. All right.
Yep, that's the magic one.
Seeing amazing results with this. I'm consistently seeing stage 4 hormone-driven breast cancers, for example, clear on this. Okay.
Wow. Cool.
We just had a patient, and straight up, I thought maybe this was going to be a palliative situation. Young woman diagnosed with colon, 16.3 centimeter tumor.
Jesus.
With I actually saw her.
That's
I actually saw the scan, and it said with numerous hepatic lesions, so all through the liver. Anyway, we got her on this 4-to-1, and 3 months later, 3 or 4, the liver's completely clear, and the colon is gone from 16.3 down to 3.
Jesus.
Wow.
That 4-to-1 ratio again.
Damn.
So,
that's your magic. It's a magic number. It really isn't. It isn't rocket science. That's why I like it. That it's not.
No, it's not rocket science. Jim, initially I thought, I wonder if this is strain specific, if this is just this particular product.
I did too.
Then I saw it happening in Canada, and then I saw it happening in the UK and Australia and Spain, and with the same results coming in. So,
wow.
I mean, it's not a magic bullet. You know this, I know this. So, and I feel we need to be clear with people. Cannabis is not a magic bullet, and it's interesting. Sometimes I will put up, because when you do what we do, when you lose somebody, it always impacts you. Some people you're closer to than others, and occasionally I will post, if I've had that happen, and people will write and say, well, weren't they on oil?
Yeah, I know.
Yes, but two things. First of all, it doesn't always work. And secondly, to quote my friend in the UK, nobody's getting off this effing planet alive.
Yeah, absolutely true.
So,
and we're all going out. Yeah, and it might have been their time,
It may have been their time.
Yeah.
But we are seeing with this 4-to-1 some really, really amazing stuff.
Well, the cool thing that we do at Cancer Playbook and our program that we're getting ready to launch, Whole Health Oncology Institute, is we're an education and data company, just like you. Really, you don't touch the medicine, either do we. We have no hands in the pot. We need to keep all those.
Fun there,
right? But we want to stay clean and be global, because our data can share all over the world, and there's so many stories. I don't know if you are aware, but you're talking about breast cancer. I've been running a charity called ERIC for about 13 years. It stands for Early Recognition is Critical, and it is. And I did that because my son was constantly always telling us that he didn't feel good way before the doctor ever did. So a lot of this is in your hands to speak up. That's one of our sayings with ERIC. And what we did is we educated youth around the world, over 150,000 of them, at middle school of how to be active, be body aware, and speak up.
Good on you.
We've been hustling it, and that started back in 2008, 2009. Eric had stage 2 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and a friend of mine's mom had stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and she died. She had metastasized bad and lived a pretty good life up to that point with cancer for a while, but then Eric ended up living, and so we were like, let's do something, so it turned into Early Recognition is Critical. And now what we're doing, which we're really proud of, is, and Jamie's a huge part of it, is we teach women how to do breast self-exams all over the world. We're in Uganda, Venezuela, Colombia, and Turkey with full staffs that go out to villages, and it's just a cool feeling to know these women are out there, and it's a cool thing. So we are all bought in on this cancer. Our goal is cancer prevention.
Yeah, good.
Like find out what's going on with why and find some of these. That's why we collect this data, and we're going to collect enough data in the future. Our goal is 100,000 stories. We got a ways to go. We're building a patient reported outcome hub, which will be hopefully have API where we can share it on other people's websites where they can collect data and it'll be theirs, but we also have access to it. So we're trying to think of ways kind of like, and then ultimately in the future, have you ever used the Waze app?
No.
It's a driving app that allows you to, if there's traffic, after a certain amount of people claim there's traffic, they reroute you. And it's awesome. It's crowdsourcing deluxe. And then they ask you, how did that reroute work? Or there's a police on the right, is it still there? So you respond, and then they tell the other people behind you. That's how we want to have our platform work for cancer patients.
Right.
Have it responsive to where every day we get a new story in. If the story affects the ratio of responses, then the next playbook that we share shows those changes. So that's why your stories are so important. And I'd like to talk about that a little bit. Tell us how you got started on the podcast that you do, that you have over 300 or 400 stories.
Yeah, we're over 400 now. What happened was I ended up being a guest on a local radio station for a half hour talking about my story. And they were inundated with response. So they asked me to come back for an hour, and I did. And again, they had that same result. So then I was scheduled as a permanent guest once a month.
Awesome.
So yeah, they got
that's
a
awesome.
lot of hits on the podcast and stuff. So that's how it first started, and then they did a shuffle, and Ian got fired and several other people got fired, and as it is in the broadcasting world. And so he approached me and said, do you want to do a podcast? And so we do. And our podcast, Cannabis Health Radio, is all our show is people who used cannabis to get well. It's not exclusively cancer, although I would say 80% of the stories up there are, and probably about half of them are people I've helped. But it's amazing how far-reaching even our show is. I had a letter once from a woman in is it Uganda?
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's South Africa area. Africa. It was definitely Africa. And she was writing, she had been diagnosed with colon cancer. And she just happened to come across our podcast that same day, and she had made her own cannabis oil, and she had just found out that morning that she was clear. So,
oh my God, that is so awesome.
That was pretty neat. And then there's this village, I had this weird letter from this lady, and she was talking about, I guess they do something in their village. It's a village in Africa, and all the women get together Wednesday night or whatever night it is and do all the cooking for this event that they do once a month or once every 2 months.
Okay.
And all the women actually listen to Cannabis Health Radio while they're putting all
what
together for the ceremony, these African ceremonies. So I guess they must speak English, because we're sure as heck not talking their language. So
that is so awesome.
That's amazing.
We want to start collecting stories in Uganda. I've been trying to keep it separate, Eric and cannabis.
Right.
Because we were teaching kids, 4 years ago, before the pandemic, we were doing, a school a day, over 700 or 800 kids a day. And we didn't really want to have to deal with all that. So now we're not. But we are in Uganda and places like that. So we have to be really careful, but we are getting ready to do some shared services together with Eric and start collecting data, because we do a lot of research. And so what's your goal with that? Are you going to just keep doing what you're doing? Because it is helping so many people. Honestly, I met you through that. I watched that first because I was looking for something with skin cancer.
Right.
And so I started reaching out to you through random stuff on the internet. Same way I met David. She was like, who the hell are you? And why do you keep asking these questions? Busted me, basically.
Looks like we had a thought from Jamie here, potentially, or might be a patient question.
What was that, Justin?
Or you're right. Jamie
When you
has a
guys
patient.
are, yeah, when you guys are ready, I just wanted to cut in and read the comment.
Yeah.
You all are doing an amazing job with educating people. I love and appreciate you all sharing your challenges. It makes things a lot easier to help people like current day. Um, wow, I want to follow your footsteps and become the king of multi-strain, 30 plus strain how-to videos coming soon. Credits go to all of you OGs. Um, there's a lot of people jumping in and saying hello. So everybody in the comment section, hi, welcome. We appreciate you tuning in. If you or a loved one have cancer, please visit cancerplaybook.org. Share your story, get involved, see what other interventions were used by other cancer patients to help.
Corey, what's the best way to get a hold of you guys?
If they're after me specifically, either of my private Facebook pages, sending a message works better than a friend request because I've got thousands of them and not enough room. If they want to check out our show, cannabishealthradio.com. Lots of stories up there, sorts of different cancers and stuff, as you know.
Can we get your story sometime?
Yeah, my story's up there.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Justin?
it's
Wait
in there.
for
It's
it.
definitely in.
One of my stories is up there. So there was Ian did an interview with me. I think it was the very first interview we did. And then he did a sort of catch-up interview. There's a couple of interviews in there. I had a notification from YouTube the other day that they took down one of my interviews.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Really? It was too good?
Two
Well,
against
they
the medical
won.
establishment.
But they told me, one such
Check
example
off.
would be at such and such mark in the interview for their reason for taking it down. But then I don't have the interview to play to see what it is that they got so offended with. So
Commie bastards is all I can say. Leave our shit alone, man. Right? I mean, that's why we're all in private groups. And one of the things I do, Corey, is also a bioresidence.
Yep.
Right here.
Yeah, show it off.
It's a Rife machine.
There we go.
Yep.
Yeah, right there. It's got a generator. What do you think about that stuff? I mean, I honestly, my dream is, I think it's combining the two. FECO, full extract, 6 strain, 4-to-1, like you're saying. I love that.
Combining things for sure. I'm sorry, I keep coughing. I'm still getting over this bug that I had. I think the more strains, the better. As I say to people, it's kind of like going to the horse races, betting on one horse, betting on 4. You'll have a better chance if you're betting on 4.
Yep, I agree. I agree. I like that.
I'm not a fan of separating all the cannabinoids and stuff. I'm really not.
Isolates?
I stand on my little soapbox and I say, God, Mother Nature, whatever your belief system is, didn't create this plant with everything in all together for it to be all divided up.
Yeah, like our country, like us in the United States.
We're all isolates.
Yeah, we're all isolates. We are, and like Jamin says, all 7 billion of you individual people could probably make something happen if we decided to get our shit together.
Yeah. I've seen that meme before. Yes. And the misinformation out there on CBD makes me crazy.
Oh,
absolutely crazy. And people who call THC CBD, and I mean, I know they're not meaning any harm, but the issue becomes
back off
calling it. Thank you. When they calling it CBD, I cannot tell you how many patients that I've heard of that have lost their lives because they thought they needed CBD to kill cancer.
Yeah.
And it's because people
are cannabis oil.
Yeah.
CBD, even though it starts with the same letter, is not the same. Yeah. And it took me a while. I was kind of in that thing about 5 years ago, really digging in. I got on Cannabis Oil Success Stories, John Marsh. And he's done a good job of educating a lot of people, and he's a good dude. I'm going to have him on here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I just had a message from him last night, actually.
So this FECO, Jamie, what's our new name for it? The FECO, it's like REI is. It's a community. We're building a FECO community, and
it's like the alliance.
Alliance, FECO Alliance, and it's global. Anybody can join. You have to be one requirement. You have to be willing to make quality medicine for cancer patients. and we're focusing on cancer. I know that there's a lot of side effects of cancer. We focus on all those too. One of the next playbooks we're working on currently is the side effects of cancer, how to use FECO, because a lot of people, we're trying to get people comfortable coming into the program because it's free. Why not come into it? I mean, right? It's probably going to cost you $1,000 to buy good medicine. And if we can get them in by using it for your nausea, for your appetite, for your sleep, for your other symptoms that Western medicine does to you, then they start realizing, wait a second, the doctor just said, like, my tumor's going away and they've never seen it go away quicker, right? Do you have any stories like that?
Do I have any stories like that?
Have you heard any people say, wow, the FECO makes my chemo work better? Kind of deal?
Yeah. Certainly. I mean, never mind just the patients. I mean, I've sat on panels with physicians who have said the same thing. So yeah, in cases where people choose to do treatment, if they do it in conjunction with oil, they'll come through it far better by a country mile, not just only in the severity of the side effects, but also in how effective the actual treatment is. As a matter of fact, there was, and this is, a couple of years old now, Jim, but I remember this thing coming through my page, and I paid attention to it because it wasn't from a cannabis publication. It was from mainstream news, and it was talking about pancreatic cancer, which of course, in my estimation, is the most difficult cancer there is. And it was talking about the fact that where they saw the best successes with pancreatic cancer was chemotherapy in conjunction with oil.
Oh shit! Hell yeah! Not feck off. That's not a feck off moment right there. Yeah. Because you know what, chemo's going to be. Our doctor, medical advisor, James Marzoff, Corrie, I'd love for you to meet him sometime. And when we get launched, I'd love to have you come on our Wednesday meetings, and we talk about the research of cannabis and cancer. And we have two researchers that were working at MIT, and they worked at the Whole Health Institute up in Arkansas. Very proactive. Our doctor is still an MD. When we launch, we're launching with papers. We're filing all these. And Justin, we're going through a meta-analysis of this information, and Ryan, who is our lead researcher, is saying that the results are better than he's ever seen before.
Yeah. And
he said the only thing that's close is the psychedelic research that they also worked on. So speaking of psychedelics, what's your opinion on psilocybin mushrooms?
I don't know a lot about them, but I do know, that they're very, very good for any kind of trauma, that sort of thing, resetting the brain. But I'm also just sort of scratching the surface on mushrooms being used in conjunction with oil for certain cancers. Now, there was a documentary, the name of it's gonna escape me, and they called me in on it to advise. The documentary was following this patient from diagnosis to after treatment.
Wow.
And they called me in on it for advice on how to dose with the oil, but she also did mushrooms as well, that particular woman. I can't even remember what kind of cancer she had. It was a difficult one because I remember thinking, well, I hope we can pull this off, and we did. Yeah. But yeah.
So what Jack's a big proponent of it.
Of what?
Psilocybin.
Oh, of mushrooms, yeah. Matter of fact, I read something that he had posted a while back on it. He put something up that was pretty informative. But yeah, I myself don't know a lot about it. But
you know what he mentioned to me is his analogy, which I talked to Paul Stamets, who's the man. And I met him at a trade show, and I got the picture to prove it. I'm really proud of that picture. But Jack said it's like the librarian came back to work, and it's easier to find the books.
That's nice.
And it's pretty good. I'd microdose probably 5 to 7 days, just like a quarter gram. Back in the day, we used to do like 7 grams, and get high as fuck, and just be running around crazy in the woods and shit like that, barking at trees. But little microdoses just kind of opens up your eyes a little bit. The vision is a little bit better. And you're just generally happier. I mean, not that I'm not a happy person anyway, but just to be happier, I'm okay with that. No argument.
I don't know anybody that
I'm getting ready to try.
I know, right? I know. It's like, damn it, I'm happier. Shit. Yeah. So yeah. So what's next for you?
Wow, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm certainly not getting any younger. Um, I've got a pretty horrible situation going on in my personal life right now, which may change what I'm able to do.
Hmm.
So I don't know what it looks like moving forward right now. The next couple of months will tell. Um, I eventually still would like to get that book written, the one on the list.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that one needs to be written for
They
sure.
have
It's
AI
on
tools
the
to help now.
list. It's on the
Corrie, anything we can do to help you, we're here. You know,
Well,
we
thank you. Yeah, so I'd love to get that book written. I met some incredibly dynamic individuals in Barcelona
let's
for
talk about that.
with the
Yeah, how'd
conference.
that
Let's talk about that. So
go?
Spanibus. They were expecting 50,000 people. I saw a lot of people I haven't seen in 5 years, so it was great. People that I've spoken with at conferences in Prague and stuff. They had a number of individuals from Colombia,
Wow.
and Colombia is really getting on board. I met a doctor and also a lawyer that are very, very involved in Colombia and trying to get medical cannabis out there and happening. As a matter of fact, there's a conference in November, which I've been asked to attend. We'll see.
In
Yeah,
Colombia,
yeah. Again,
Oh,
that
I'm
means,
going. I'm going in May.
are you? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
enjoy.
So
yo,
we
to
have a
meet up.
full team of people that work for us over there, and
Oh,
there's a huge tournament, and it's women's tournament. We're doing a big pink out game, um,
enjoy.
Hmm.
in ultimate frisbee.
Hey, good for you.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've been doing ultimate frisbee. That was one of our vehicles that we used to teach the kids about cancer. Is we showed them how to catch a frisbee and throw it, and we got their attention, and then we talked about early recognition and speaking up and stuff like
I
that.
took over PE class to do that. It was
50
amazing what they
minutes.
put together.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was just a concept that I
Wow.
came up with when I was younger, and my kids were, in fifth grade. In fifth, they were 5, 6, 7 years old, and I used to go into their PE class and talk to them about frisbee. And I thought, when we're going to do this, I want to do it with something that I enjoy doing. And then I dialed in. I did high school, and I was like, "Fuck that." And then I did elementary school, and I was like, "Fuck that." And so I did middle school, and it was the perfect age. The kids were kind of. I used to say they kind of still believe in Santa Claus, you know. And
You don't?
we taught them something really cool, and kids still remember it. I had many sponsors that made frisbees that we'd take to the school, and each of the kids would get to take home one of these badass ultimate frisbees that are, I got one right here. I brought it I take them with me everywhere. They're professional grade, stable, and it's what I've done my whole life. My daughter plays still very competitively. I owned a professional team. Um, so it's a big passion of ours. So we work with to give you an example of the groups of women that we would have, and I'd love to have. My goal is in our program at Eric, we spend 40% of our time educating the women on prevention, healthy living, and diet are huge. Exercise, paying attention to what's going on yourself, doing these breast self exams monthly, and paying attention to when there's a lump if it changes, and that's when you start going to the next step, which is a screening. And screening in Uganda is very difficult because there's only 3 mammograms in the whole country. So we're trying to change that, and they even lend them to other countries in Africa, and because that's how they do it, and then the next step is path forward. If you find a lump, something's got to happen, right? So we have a relationship with the Ugandan Cancer Institute, where we can refer them to them, and they'll take them on a kind of like a nonprofit mentality and take care of them. So our goal is start to finish. We don't ever leave a woman that finds a lump alone, basically. So it's amazing. It brings tears to my eyes, some of the stuff that we get from them on a daily basis. They're so passionate, and then all I did was get it going. I'm a natural born starter, so I just did what I love doing, and next thing I know, they're kicking ass, man, and we're hiring more people. I think we have
Thousands of women have been trained. So the way that the model works
Wow.
is not only do they go in and educate students but they'll go in and educate other leaders and train them how to do self-breast exams, and then those women go out into the masses and do their own events. So you're training a bunch of leaders in Uganda, and hundreds of women are going out and teaching other women how to do
exponential
this.
growth.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's how it's got to be.
Yeah. So what can we do? You know David, you know Jack, you know Dave Doppler. Dave was on here. Dave's a good dude.
Right. Yeah, it was his birthday last week or the week before.
Yeah. I reached out to him. He does some good things. They're angels.
Mhm.
Angels in the dark. And David was on a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was called the details are in the angels, or the angels are in the details.
Angels and details.
Yeah.
It was cute. And David is so passionate about this. She's the one that I met first and introduced me to Jack, and then all this happened all 4 or 5 years ago. And yeah, I think it's in a great place, honestly. We have a team of people that are basically starting this new company, committing their time for free because they believe in it so much that they're willing to, I hate to say risk everything because it's not anywhere near that. But I mean, honestly, we're still kind of like, the space is kind of weird, right? I mean, what do you think about the cannabis industry? I mean, how's Canada going on that? It's really messed up down here. There's so much weed. The price is way low. Nobody can survive on $800 a pound. The buyer's market. Colorado is $100 an ounce for good weed. How's Canada's cannabis? What do you do if somebody wants your recommendation on where to get some good cannabis? Is there a good dispensary up near you?
I sure as heck don't send them to the government. So, I mean, basically, I'm not into all the rules and stuff, but essentially we're supposed to order product from the government or buy from the government.
Oh my God, are you serious?
It's capped out at 30%.
Heck off.
30%.
Dave must have heard his name because Dave Doppler just
Maybe
jumped on.
If there ever was a feck off moment, that's what's going to happen in the U.S. That's going to happen as soon as it gets to a point where
once it's rescheduled.
Well, I've spoken to several people who have said the quality of product that's available in Colorado now is getting really crappy. But whether or not that's true, I don't know. But Canada, Canada's a gong show. I mean, this legalization has done absolutely nothing for patients.
Nothing medical at all, right?
Not the medical. I actually sat down with Health Canada.
Another feck off moment, man. Jesus, they are.
Actually sat down with Health Canada with a couple other people. I guess about 4 months ago now, 3 months ago, in an hour-long Zoom meeting. And one of my recommendations was that they were looking at how it rolled out because it was the 5-year anniversary of cannabis being legal in Canada. And so there was like a 5-panel. And one of my recommendations was we need much stronger product available for cancer patients. 30% THC is your cap? Or people who are coming off of opiates, the strongest edibles, I think, are 10 milligrams.
Oh my.
Yeah.
It's opiates. Yeah. And that's the worst thing. I know Neil Magnuson over in Vancouver.
Neil,
What a good dude, man.
He's amazing.
I love what he does. And his brother is a hockey player from Chicago. The Chicago Blackhawks. Yeah, when I lived there, he was.
I didn't realize it was his brother. Okay.
Yeah.
It amazes me how connected everybody is. Like every time we get a new guest on the podcast, we hear the same names over and over. Like everybody is so connected who's in this. It just amazes me. Yeah. Dave Doppler's in our viewing section right now.
What up, Dave?
Hey, Dave.
One of the OGs.
Happy belated birthday.
Yeah, Dave's the man. He's fun to talk to. I actually met Todd Babu. I was in Boston. This is a funny story, and I was up there and I was high, if you can believe that, and I told Babu that I said, "Man, the podcast is at 12 o'clock," and I said, "Get here at 11." But then he came, and it's 12 Central Time, so he was 2 hours early. And he's like, "Shit, I got up like at 6 o'clock." And he's but he was great though. We sat there in front of each other. We actually did it an hour early that day, right? We just came into the hotel room, and so as you can tell, it's very impromptu.
It worked out.
It works out. Justin, do you have any questions for Corrie?
So I know or Jamie had posted a question from someone earlier, because we've mentioned the multi-strain so many times through this conversation, but what specifically about the multi-strain do you believe is so impactful for cancer patients?
Well, actually, I don't think that it's necessarily just one particular thing. What I think it is it's kind of like going to the horse races, betting on one horse, betting on 10. You're going to have a better chance if you bet on 10. So really, that's my whole thinking on that. The more, the merrier, but not
It's not going to hurt you.
What's
Yeah, and I'll throw in
multi-strain
Dady Mary's research. Dady Mary's research in Israel backs it up because he's tested like 100 strains on like a prostate cancer line, and he's found that it takes one specific strain with one compound that they don't even know what it is that's like making the difference between the cell dying or not. So you could have 90 compounds, but you might need that 91st for it to work, and that's where it seems like that multi-strain is coming in.
Yeah, and the information, as you're well aware, that landscape changes every day with what we're learning. We're continuing learning.
So what we do is we collect stories and we assign them 1 star through 5 star. 5 star is our number one patient, 001, that came to me. He's my neighbor in Austin. We didn't have anything on website or anything, and he said, "I just got diagnosed with cancer, lymphoma." I said, "Man, go in my house, bedroom, syringe, start pumping that shit in every hole on your body." And I was basically referring to everything Jack would tell me. So I'd call Jack up. "Jack, what do I do?" And I called Dave up. And so Dave ended up doing it, did chemo, went to Mayo, told him he was doing it. They loved it. They said, "Keep doing oil. Don't smoke, but do oil." And now he's our technology guy. He's like the guy at the hair club. He's a member and a patient. So it's just amazing how those type of things work. And so many people have cancer, and if you do get cancer, somebody that has cancer, which we all know somebody does. Tell them that they need to get some oil in them first. Don't wait till the end when the doctor says it's stage 4 and you get your affairs in order. Get it with the day that you get diagnosed. Ask Dave. It's in his story. But what I was saying was we get star, 5 star, and 1 star. We're getting a lot of 2 and 3 star now, but as we go forward, we're going to start collecting stories from people that have not told their story yet. And we'll get more data from them because we can ask them certain questions. So like you said, every day it's getting better and better. And I expect us to start getting more 5-star stories, which are going to move the needle a lot more. It's going to help people more. And so like I said, if anybody knows anybody out there that does have cancer, have them come on Cancer Playbook, or get a hold of Corrie for sure. And what we do is we're a resource. We recommend people like Corrie. We just say, "Hey, we don't do that, but we do patient-reported outcomes. But if you need an OG that can talk to you about it, we got 3 or 4 of them on hand that are probably on this podcast right now." So
one of the focuses, you were asking about Spain and Spanibus. One of the focuses over in Europe seems to be the concentration right now is on trying to get physicians educated on cannabis, because people will pay attention to physicians. But guys, one of the things that really struck me when I was at the business conference was I thought to myself, I wish that the average Joe who has this preconceived notion about what a person who uses cannabis or somebody who's involved in the cannabis world looks like. I wish they could see the incredible number of dynamic people I had the pleasure of hanging out with in Barcelona.
Isn't that the truth?
Phenomenal.
My God,
Phenomenal.
amen to that. There are some
Yeah.
good people in this space, and you know what? That's why I know it's going to work. That's why I feel I'm good with everything I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right on. Thank you for saying that. That's powerful,
I
and
mean,
that's
we're talking about people with integrity and
kids and grandkids, and just but just want to have a good quality of life. We're about three things, Corrie: prevention, patient autonomy, and quality of life. That's what whole health oncology is all about. It's just everybody deserves that, right? I mean, 100 years from 100 years from now, they're going to look back and laugh at us about our oncology practices back in the 21st century. They're going to say, what the hell were you guys thinking? Yeah, so
injecting a bunch of poison to kill something.
So cannabis oil kills cancer.
Yep.
Because we have stories that prove it.
We do.
That's awesome. And we're gonna, I hope you don't mind us scraping your stories, because we're using them for a good thing, and we identify where they come from, and every bit of it, and we show the whole part of it. If somebody wants to see it, we reference that link, and they'll come right to your website and watch it right from yours. So we follow we track it like Matrix, like it's weed. Seed to sale.
It's like a uniform word of mouth.
Yeah, that's great.
That's what it is.
The more the merrier, the more we can get it out there. That's what it's about, right?
Yep.
If everybody had 400 plus stories like you, and we can all share those, and and I've always been the guy that pulls things together. Like, I didn't do peanut butter and chocolate, but I wish I would have. So, but I believe in merging stuff as much as possible, and you'll learn that more as we work together and stuff like that. But and I'm saying that because I really look forward to working with you and building something that can really help people that would want to call Corrie in the future. But at one day you're gonna check out. I mean, Jack checked out. It's hard. We also do dogs, and my heart breaks when I read people. They talk about their dogs more than they talk about their kids or aunts or uncles or parents or whatever. I mean, that my dog has cancer, and oh my God, you get the whole story of how awesome that dog is. So, and we love all dogs, and cannabis works great on dogs too.
Yep, it sure does.
Got endocannabinoid systems too.
Crazy stuff. Well, gosh, this is
anything with a spine, in fact.
Backbone, bring it on. Yeah, Corrie, you are one amazing lady. We appreciate everything you do. Do you have any closing statements? You already told people how to get a hold of you if they need to get a hold of you. Keep coming to a radio and bringing your story.
CannabisHealthRadio.com. Check it out. It's on iTunes. It's on YouTube. You can see it multiple ways. And they are some of the best stories that you can possibly see on the internet. Like, I've listened to a lot of them, and it's amazing. I feel a big connection to you and Ian after how many I heard at this point.
Thanks, Justin. Yeah, well, we're just trying to get the word out there.
You're doing a great job.
You're doing great.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate everything you're doing. And more importantly, we really appreciate you being on Feck Off Friday with us. And I'd love to hear you say Feck Off one time before you leave.
Jim, it has been a pleasure meeting you in image.
Yeah.
Feck off.
I loved it. That's how we ended. All right, everyone. We will see you guys next week for Feck Off Friday.
Right on. Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you